LCK, and kind of wondering if this champion's going to continue running the meta, because he's kind of been the boogeyman alongside Jace a lot of times.
Yeah.
That Silas ban immediately tells me, like, we might be looking at a Malphite.
Might as well as the Akali ban comes through again. So really not wanting to deal with rookies Akali and some of the skill expression that can be had on that one. We'll see what IG want to go ahead and ban for their last ban, though.
Could go Orianna. That was the pick we saw last, or the ban we saw last time. It is going to be the case. First pick Malphite. He's also a flex. Has a lot of good matchups in top lane. Is kind of that deny champion. Also gives you very clear engage. I personally am a bigger fan of Malphite top lane. I think a lot of our Malphite jungles have been a little suspect. There's a lot of Malphite ults that are used as escape tools and not engagement. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway.
All right, so what is Jwei cooking here? I expect to see a jungle pick early now that we already know the Malphite's going to be there. Obviously could be some flexibility there, but I highly doubt it. And we'll see what they want to go with, as Soboro does lock in the Renekton here. So throwing down the top lane gauntlet, the Mundo comes through. You aren't going to be able to ult that. He goes where he pleases.
Yeah, Mundo, very interesting. We saw him pop up at Worlds after a little bit of time. They did have to nerf him. It was mostly a fix. If you didn't know, he was basically getting maximum efficiency from one of his spells that is based on missing HP, but it was working while he's still at full, which was very fun. So I think this is quite fun now. They're going to go for the counter pick immediately in the Gnar. I think that IG are already setting up for a very beefy front line, so they're going to need big damage dealers coming out from the mid and bottom lane. I'm looking at things maybe even like this Ryze, the Azir especially, but Azir's a little bit tricky when you have a Malphite on the other end.
Yeah, I would love to see the Ryze, actually. I feel like Ryze is so insane with the new item sets and the way that things move around so quickly on the map. But we'll see what this kind of final pick for the first phase is going to be looking like for Weibo. If it's going to be a tried and true control mage for Xiaohu, it will be, as he locks in the Syndra.
This is the champion that I almost instantly associate with this guy. I remember watching Xiaohu play top lane Syndra, and this guy was a beast. So seeing this champion come back into the meta during Demacia Cup, that's what I wanted to see, and hopefully we can kind of get him back into form. They have an extremely explosive 2v2 for Xiaohu and Jiejie. Can they execute on that, however? That's what we're going to have to see.
Did you did you get your tickets to the Unction? Because two of the oldest champions in League of Legends are also playing there. With the Rookie and Xiaohu rocking in the Ryze and the Syndra. It's just going to be an interesting matchup. Still a lot of that mobility out of mid lane, though, for Rookie. In the second phase, we do get some ADC focuses, at least from IG's side. They're going to take away the Aphelios.
Now, when I look at IG's comp, we talked about the fact you have a Mundo, you have a Renekton. This team is going to be very scary later in the game. Like, we get to level 16s, and we're starting to look at a team that's going to be not only difficult to deal with in terms of damage, but is also going to be very tanky. So this Syndra and specifically this Weibo composition are on a bit of a timer in my mind. I need to see them really execute early, and that was a big problem for them all this last year.
Big thing that they have going for them right now is just an insta-delete button of a Malphite R with the Power Unleash from Syndra. If they can combo that onto a squishy member, that's awesome, but as you say, time goes on, it's going to be even harder and harder to do that, as we see 3 ADCs banned away in the second phase of bans, as the Sivir will be the similar ban from IG's game number 1. And we got the Misfortune ban by Weibo this time around. We'll see what their final ban is going to be as well.
I think this needs to be a Xayah Rakan ban right now, or at the very least Xayah. Going for Leona. I like the Leona just because it's kind of the last force your flash kind of champion, but I think Xayah Rakan here for IG is incredible. The fact that you now have a champion that completely nullifies that engage and that burst that we were talking about from this mid jungle makes it, the game plan anyway from Weibo, much more difficult to execute on. Photic will have a dash. I worry about his ability to actually properly auto-attack, but we talked about crit being very, very powerful. It seems like they're going to at least give themselves a little bit more time here with a Rel instead.
Yeah, I mean, Lucian in solo queue and tier list has been the cream of the crop, it feels like, with these new patches, with some of the efficiency he has with the Essence Reaver and things like that. but I do worry for that range and being able to navigate some of these fights. You really want something that can kind of just sit behind this line and continue to fire away. And something that's going to upend that on the Weibo side of things would be things that can dive into the backline, find those angles. Will it be the Kai'Sa? It will end up getting locked in for Elk. So it's a tried and true for him, something he has popped off on international stages on, and will be trying to do so here as the Weibo up-and-comer.
I think you really just want to play Rakan here. Braum does nothing versus this team. Who's killing Mundo later in the game? That's going to be Kai'Sa's job, but Kai'Sa needs to hit like 3 and 4 items. She also needs time to hit, and I don't think you get that luxury here in this game. IG, what is our last pick? I want to see a Xayah. It's not amazing in the 2v2, but you have Rel to kind of get you around that. Your 2v2 is much stronger than Weibo's early on. Photic is one of our Senna players, I won't lie.
The Xayah was so good, though. Like,
the Xayah is good.
All the damage.
But now this means the top side is so much more important here for IG. You're going to have a Mundo, you're going to have a Ryze and a Renekton being bolstered by a Senna. These are immovable objects, and I have yet to be impressed by Weibo's early game. Photic, take that jacket off. Yes! Let's get locked in. Let's get our furry 2-0 here.
Baby. He doesn't want to go 14 assists this time around, all right? Yeah, this is a little bit weird.
Zoom back out. Back out. We're just trying to fix behind the scenes. Yeah, we don't want the huge ads. We're not in control, unfortunately.
It is out of our control. But you know what's in our control is talk about the objectives for both these teams in this game. Weibo, it's to come back from whatever the hell that game number 1 was. For IG, it's to continue kind of putting that pressure out early and taking control of the map. I think both these teams succeed so extremely well when their junglers can feel confident to make continuous plays. I'll be looking for that here. And I really want to pick your brain on how this matchup between the jungle works and this Malphite jungle that we're going to see for the first time in the LPL regular season.
Yeah, Malphite is really surprisingly like a pretty good duelist. Like, you have an auto attack reset on your W, you have a free shield to start off, so that alongside the cripple on his Q and the attack speed slow, like, he has a lot of interesting mechanics that make him pretty strong in 1v1s and 2v2s. Against the Mundo, however, he has no way of getting around this champion, and Mundo is disgusting early on.
He's also a businessman. He'll be taking business calls while he puts you in the trash can. We're going to see a 2v2 kicking off, and this is definitely in favor of Weibo. They're going to flash straight onto Jwei. Jwei took too much damage, and he will just go down early. That is not how the 2v2 wants to start out in the bot lane, but exactly what Weibo needed.
Oh, I couldn't say it better than that. You are strong in a 2v2 because you have Rel. But if you missed the crash down, if you missed some of your abilities, that was really well played in that 2v2 from Elk and Erha. So good punish. It gets both summoners out from Jwei, which I think is a big win. But 4 summoners in trade, and you have a Mundo who is pathing bot. We'll see if Weibo can do much more with the fact that we have First Blood back in the game. It actually means something now. You get that bonus 100 gold again.
Finally, let's go. First Blood is important. This is going to be the second game in a row. We do see the immediate paths downwards for both junglers as level 2 does come up for Weibo early here.
Wow.
We'll just push them out of the wave. Some Void Seekers to pepper in some damage on top of it all. And what are you wowing?
We are a minute 50 into this game, and we already have 3 waves down on bottom lane.
Yeah, we do.
Again, the game is so much faster in terms of pacing here. Also, junglers take 0 damage with the new jungle quest. So, yeah, you can probably take Yuumi in the jungle, and you probably are fine. You're going to be doing okay for yourself. So,
nope.
Do we see some Mundo coming down into this lane? Because I know Elk wants to find a recall. It's a little bit troublesome, but there's home guards, man. Home guards just need to get back so fast, and Senna does not have a good time clearing the waves early.
Rookie on the worst end of a trade in mid lane. Xiaohu getting the better of him this time around. Not going to be much like that game number 1. So it's going to be looking clear, but not much mana there. Really needs to be careful with his health bars. Wei has found his way towards bot side, and Jiejie will end up seeing his old frenemy.
Has priority from mid.
Oh, misses that book.
This is troublesome here for IG.
This is tough. These are decisions that are going to come back to haunt them. Does end up forcing the flash out of Jwei. Getting away from what could have been worse, but that still be a 5-minute flash cooldown on the Mundo jungle as Erha maybe getting a little bit spicy there. Not going to find anything.
Why did Jwei flash? Can anybody tell me why Jwei flashed? Because he has the CC immunity from his passive.
He does.
There's no damage from the Malphite. Like, we're gonna investigate that one later. That's double scuttle for Jiejie. That's good. We'll take that as Weibo.
We will indeed. And I think this Malphite jungle is going to be off to a pretty decent start here. Nothing to write home about just yet, but that Elk lead might be. And the guy we were saying needs to really step up for this team. Big transfer in the offseason coming away from BLG for the first time in seemingly forever with his duo with On. Now with Erha, and trying to figure out what this younger player has in store for him. They already do have a lot of control in that bot lane 2v2. This wave, though, going to look to be crashed.
I really want to try to get in bottom lane wave to move on forward. Mostly, I assume, so they can try to get themselves moving across the map. Dragon to spawn in 45, but early invade onto Raptors is taken. Great job. Unfortunately, Xiaohu will be taking the big Raptor on that one, so ends up being a big winner for that. It's golden experience taken away from Malphite. Not all that bad of a trade, but for the early being, I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact. It does mean that they have continuous timers on Jiejie's jungle.
Dude, Soboro just got a dopamine hit right there. that was beautiful. One spin, he cleared the whole wave. It feels real good. I'm just going to say my biggest complaint about these later game waves, obviously not these right now, is that Jin can't bounce as coolly against the lesser minions now. Makes me sad.
I didn't know you were enthusiast on Jin bouncing, but I respect
on it. Yes, on it.
Yeah.
There is the level 6 mark that's now being hit, especially by Xiaohu and Rookie. Those are the two big ones we're looking at, because now you have that Power Unleash combo. You can really get some good damage down, but more importantly, the Realm Warp for Rookie. How quickly can they get Rookie out of this lane and getting resources in the side lane?
You in for a tier, which means that his back was fairly low in terms of econ. Usually, especially into things like Syndra and Ahri, you're looking at a first item back of a tier, maybe even a Null Magic Mantle, and then you're kind of set for the laning phase. Also, Ryze just having access to 1300 HP at level 4 is pretty ridiculous, or level 6 I should say. Means that he's under no threat of getting solo killed unless he makes 3 massive mistakes. So Weibo are making some moves onto the bottom side here. They have moves from bottom lane if they need it, but a level 5 Mundo is infinitely more powerful in my mind than this Malphite.
Yeah, for sure. As Jiejie going to try to go right back to what was comfortable for him in game number 1, and that's stealing away objectives from Jwei with Smite wins. As he did have a good go of it in game number 1. It is IG a little bit reluctant to move over to this dragon. Gotta remember, dragons are a little bit tougher this year than they were in the previous. Make up for some of the other objectives that were gone, like the throwing at a con. But it was actually just a startup that doesn't get pushed to fruition. And we have the grubs coming up in less than a minute and a half now.
I'm okay with this, because what ends up happening is you move the timer for Weibo to really get around the map and finish these objectives. It means that Elk will have to push his wave and then move, and now Jwei gets to take red buff. He potentially even gets to take the Raptors, and they're going to try to look for Zika here, but immediately Erha is on this side of the map. He could be here soon.
Oh, they just chunk him. Beautifully executed from IG's solo laners, and they're going to get plates for it.
Good payment. I thought Erha could maybe move a little bit quicker. Mundo's going to be the one that's the big winner from all of this as well, so IG are getting paid at this moment. 2 plates as well for Soboro. If this Renekton is fed, I don't know who on Weibo actually deals with it properly, because this Scout of the Week has to have, like, it has to have everybody's name on it, and some of these champions just straight up ignore that CC.
Yeah, just a really good capitalization of when they knew that Zika didn't have his TP up there to capitalize on the kill and then get resources afterwards. It is still going to be a little bit dicey on the bot side, though. As you are seeing some deep vision being played towards, but there's not much else but the grubs coming up in about 10 seconds. It looks like IG are favored for this fight as well, and they will immediately move over.
They have all their flashes up. There's a level 6 here for Jiejie, but with those summoner spells, it means that you're less likely to actually land any of those abilities. Now, I will note, Erha does have level 6 coming up after this minion wave, so maybe there's an attempt on bottom. You can see that Malphite is on his wave, and the wave's already crashed, but it's a little too early here for Weibo, so...
You always have to watch it on Photic's point. Does have the flash, can get away from that one, does have the ghost as well. IG gonna reposition back down towards bot side. They were also threatening a move from Rookie. It looks like things will calm down for now.
So Photic got a stack off of Jiejie there. He got 2 stacks from the Krugs going down, and still was able to pick up a large majority of the wave there. It was a plate going over to Alk, but I think you're okay with that if you are this Senna right now. 29 stacks at 9 minutes is not all that bad of a trade, and you're already stacking up this coal pretty well. So IG are getting paid in all the right spots, and Weibo are not really pressing them in some of the weaker points of their game. It was outside of that very early big mistake coming in from the first few minutes of the game. I've seen nothing but good things coming in from Invictus Gaming, considering their winning ways from Demacia Cup.
Yeah, the collected kind of self-motivation, I guess, in a lot of these situations for IG. Like, they are all motivated to have moves as a team, and now we're going to see a move on the team on bot side by Weibo. Going to get the taunting shadow out and away. No way he just survived that. Photic with the absolute steal of a life there, it feels like, away from Weibo.
They have no damage. You're playing Hearthbound Axe Kaisa, and you've got nothing. You've got heal available to you as this Rakan. That's questionable, and that might be something that we kind of come back to that ends up harming Weibo's game a lot, because you spent a lot of resources for that. You will not have some of these kind of same spikes for the dragon that spawns in a minute and a half, and Photic is going to recall and potentially finish half an item here. So I don't know, man. Like, I'm looking at this from Weibo's perspective. There's a lot of mistakes that I'm seeing from them, and we'll see if they can kind of tighten up. They still have a lot of game time here in this one.
They do. They did lose that big lead that was kind of counteracting that topside lead for IG, but they can still gain it back, and I still do believe in Alk's Kaisa, as we have seen time and time again. He is very good at the champion. We are getting some quests completed. Soboro will be the first on the board completing his. So we'll have that buffed up TP. See how he wants to utilize that, as we will have Dragon coming up in about 45 seconds. It will be the second Dragon of the game, and would be Weibo's second if they're able to get it.
Can Alk finish an item here? Is this Kraken Slayer complete? Yes.
There you go.
So a decent spike coming in. I think Weibo should feel confident to fight this. It will be the first big fight of the game for our two teams. And Jiejie has been sitting on a Zeke's convergence this entire time. So I think this should be one where they feel very comfortable. They're going to have a lot of abilities back up. There will not be the Dawning Shadow and no Realm Warp available for Rookie. So if there's any timer, if there's any window that we see Weibo go for a second Dragon, it has to be here.
See some of the positioning of the warding to get the extra vision there, especially with the control ward. You always know there's going to be a ward there if there's a light up in the area, as Photic dodges away expertly yet again from Erha. And now they're going to collapse on Alk, but Jiejie is here, does have the unstoppable force, can look to unleash that one whenever he wants to. Still a 3v3 of Bruin. You can see the mid laners, they are positioned. You've got Rookie in front of Xiaohu. He will make the move first, but they're going to trade positions. The push is going to come through from IG, and they need to communicate that to their bot lane.
Syndra's losing mid waves right now, so like you mentioned, Rookie gets first say. Erha could look for something. Jwei is so tanky, he's stacking those Heartsteel procs.
Jiejie is just waiting to unleash the force here. The engage comes from Jwei, and Jiejie just has to pull it immediately, but we've seen this Malphite again not pay off with the ultis, and it was the same symptoms from Demacia Cup, and now Weibo are falling to all of them. 4 members strong on bot side is IG, and they take the lead.
Oh, he used the unstoppable force onto Jwei, does no damage during it. And that spells doom here. IG will grab the first dragon. They'll cancel these recalls. Can they kill Rookie, though?
Oh, they might. Okay, not going to be able to. A little bit close on both ends, and some plates going over to IG, so they still went out on that. An extra 600 gold going their way after the play.
And guess what? Rookie still gets to hit this mid-wave, man. Like, this is the most devious part of this. Like, he gets paid so much here, and the rest of IG really come out big winners for this. I mean, having another quest completed in your bottom lane with Photic, and you're still winning. You got Heartsteel procs from that. Like, where is the damage from? Like, Elk needs to be able to hit, and there's just no crowd control to lock down his damage. That's the big problem for me.
And Erha goes in with that quickness, and that's that CC that you're begging for, but they just have such a good angle on Elk. He can't stay there. If he stays there and tries to do damage, he will just die. And so you have to be able to have that kind of bend and break moment, and unfortunately it's broken for Weibo. And that'll be all the quests completed, though, for Weibo's side. Still a couple lacking for IG, but still some decent control of the map now, and a lot of vision up towards this top side by Invictus.
They get so many free timers to move because they have this rum work, because they have the ability to kind of just push their weight around. When you have a Mundo in this kind of state, he's not super far ahead, but he is tanky enough. Where is the damage coming through for Weibo? We were looking to maybe for it to be Elk, but didn't see too much great setup for this champion, the Kaisa. And you just now completed tier 3 boots and a Blackfire Torch for the Syndra. So hopefully we can see a little bit more in the moments to come.
And we talked about it in the draft as well, kind of thinking about how these comps work, and especially for IG. I mean, their big focus is on top side. The fact that they are pretty even with their bot lane is just, you know, whipped cream on the cake at this point, because you're really focused on what these solo lanes can do. As Rookie gonna dodge back into the Realm Warp, get out, get some minions out too. And now there's a reposition coming in from IG up towards topside to see if they can capitalize on some of these plays from Weibo.
We're seeing right now, there's pings over to the bottom side. Everybody knows that Soboro is waiting in the dot brush right now. All Soboro needs to do is keep Zika underneath this turret and not able to teleport towards this play. Seems like neither top laner is really going to be able to join, and if one does, guess what? That's Meganar, no longer available here for Weibo. They have very little damage if Elk is not here for this Herald. So IG right now, all you need to do is kind of play around this timer, buy yourself time. They know Weibo have zero ability to burst down objectives.
How are we feeling about the convergence here going in for Jiejie as his first item on the Malphite? I know we've been seeing a little bit of that, but I'm very curious if it's going to be effective against the Heartsteel that's continuously going to be stacking up, and a lot of the stacking factors here for IG.
The Zeke's is cheap. I think it's good. I don't like Electrocute. I've been a pretty staunch defender that PTA is kind of the rune for Malphite. I will also note that he doesn't have a lot of runes in general, so maybe he's just a champion that has to take Spellbook. But I think it's fine, especially if he can hit level 11 soon, but that's a big question. I don't know what Weibo are able to do against this champion.
Well, he's just going to walk away. He's got a business call, but he's about to get off that call and hang it up and try to go back onto Weibo. Weibo try to collapse onto Rookie. They do end up getting a big pick there. Nobody around from IG besides these bot laners.
Oh
and
my
now
God.
they will end up getting Jwei, but the double CC comes in. They get the Scatter of the Week back, and that won't be enough damage. Soboro goes in, pops Dominus, goes for the flash play, goes for the CC chain, tries to get him. It's going to spin to win here, but can't get the damage down. One goes down, and big Scatter of the Week comes back. Elk steps back up. This is a lot of damage that Elk has to deal with. One more briefcase, not going to come through. Photic maybe waiting here. Soboro, slice and dice, going to dodge away. Can't get away from the Scatter of the Week. And that is a lot of dust up for a Weibo win.
A lot of summoner spells being used here, and some gold going over to Weibo in places that they were hoping. Kills going over to Elk, that's what we wanted to see. Lennon, more objectives still here for IG. A Herald now, and 45 seconds before a Dragon. Now you're not going to have a lot of summoner spells. It's a bit worrisome for me. Let's see if IG are even going to be able to contest for this Dragon now. I mean, they're the ones that are also missing a ton of sums.
Yeah, they are indeed. And I think that's really tough to handle when you just do have so much mobility, so much CC chaining, at least. As we're going to take a look back at this one.
Perfect, right? Let's get the shield away from him. I like the engage immediately onto Rookie. Jwei's nowhere near this fight. Senna's nowhere near this fight. This is as good as it's going to get here for Weibo this early on. And we're seeing that damage is starting to come true, but once they kind of make a few mistakes, like this flash from Jiejie ends up rooting Xiaohu, ends up being that they can kind of chase them for a really long time. Interesting to me that Zika doesn't opt to go for teleport. Maybe he doesn't have access. I'm assuming he had just went mini-Gnar after going Mega, so doesn't have too much influence in that fight compared to a Renekton with Dominus. Still, I'm happy enough with how Weibo were able to get out of that play. It's just a lot of stacks going over to Photic in the meanwhile.
You can just see the damage potential that they have. If they can stack their CC on a one target, all burst them down, they will die extremely quickly. You still see another dragon going over at least. This will be to Weibo. This will be their second dragon. Rift Herald did get popped in mid lane by IG though.
They'll grab gold. This will be good, you know, in terms of resources, decent. It won't be the full turret, however. And they're completely controlling its top side. Maybe they're going to look for a Realm War play onto Gnar. Gnar immediately backs off. More plays going to Saboro. And again, 3 grubs as well. Pretty dangerous.
Oh my God,
we're talking about the
burning that.
Yeah, and remember, they had already completed, he completed his quest first before anybody else in the game. He's already level 14 at 19.5 minutes.
That's insane. As it's going to be crazy what this Renekton can do as time goes on. We are looking at those item completions and second item completion, especially for Wei, as that Spirit Visage, as he backed away from going for the boots completion. It looks like Weibo looking to try to make a play in mid lane. Not going to pull the trigger on that one. There was the Realm Warp used by Rookie to get down towards bot side and stop some of the side lane pushing from Xiaohu. Wei's going to try to get his own jungle back.
See if he can steal this red for Jiejie. Gonna burst this out. There's a smite. Okay, decent enough.
Oh, Killer Instinct on the Photic. Photic is just gone. And here comes the unstoppable force. Becomes stoppable because he doesn't hit anybody. But Elk is hitting everybody now. They do end up getting back off damage. A Rookie trying to look for Elk now, but leaving Wei by himself. He can't choose which side he wants to go on. As we see the re-engage here potentially coming through. Wei is healing a decent amount. Rookie trying to get an angle here with some of the bouncing coming through. They do end up finding Elk, but they can't get him down with the Rune Prison. Here comes Jwei. Going for the engage. Misses a decent chunk of him. Just gets blown up by Elk. Now Rookie overextended. Power Unleash going to be used. Wei's getting a little bit lower. He's trying to get some of this AoE down, but they can't do enough. And double kill comes in for Elk yet again.
All right, IG biting off a little more than they can chew in that moment, and Weibo, they'll take the punish. They'll get more kills. 6-0 for Kaisa here. And Elk, he's getting paid deeply here. His pockets are going to be huge in this game. Maybe even they get themselves the mid-tier 1 as a good enough offering. 2-item Kaisa, 21 minutes. Decent enough one there. Like, for IG, you are going to scale, but we put a lot of focus into the top side of this map. If we're not going to be playing with Soboro, I don't think we can take that kind of fight as IG.
Yeah. And what I think you can take is Elk popping the hell off. I mean, there's all these questions from this guy. It's like, is it just a symptom of being on the BLG squad? Is it a symptom of being with your duo on for so long? This man has that killer instinct, and we've seen it on the international stage, in the domestic sphere. He is a monster, and he showed it just now.
That play is entirely set up by Erha, though. Like, he's sitting in the brush. Photic walks into blind vision and ends up getting punished. So it was a really good find because for the entirety of this fight, there's no Dawning Shadow. There's none of that consistent DPS. And even Rookie really can't find anything. That was the flash coming out from Elk, but I think a worthwhile trade as Weibo continued to find mids.
Anybody that still complains, okay, Killer Instinct going to be used to save his life. Soboro could not find purchase and will not go down, but Jwei will pay for his own sins. And now the minion wave is not there. IG still threatening a siege here, threatening the resets of Weibo, and they should be able to get a tier 2.
How is Elk up 2,500 gold and no shutdown? What is this? Like, he doesn't die in that fight, and that's a Hail Mary play for IG. They force a lot out of him. He no longer has cleanse. They'll grab a mid-tier 1 and a tier 2 at the meanwhile. So IG are still kind of nickel and diming this Weibo team. This is, I mean, really well-played macro coming in from IG, especially early on into the season. Oh my god, Soboro gets out at the very last moment. I think if Weibo end up dying, or if they find Elk there, that could have been a big turning point here in this game, 50 seconds before the Dragon.
Yeah, the Dragon's going to be a big tick off of what can happen the next few minutes. Flash comes out from Jiejie. He can't run away. He just flashed for nothing. He has no exit. The slows from Photic, and Jiejie is down. Rookie finds his first kill. Now the TP coming in. Soboro trying to get a little bit of antsiness going to Weibo's side, and they might just pull back. They are pinging it already out. They might just burn this one.
23-minute Baron here, and this is 20 seconds before the Dragon. This is really risky. There's still a lot of ways that Weibo can enter back into this pit. I mean, still 3-item Kaisa in this moment, and Xiaohu with this Syndra.
Jiejie had the smite fight, but he needs to find a way in. Now he's not there, and that's going to be all wave. He can get the smite, and there you go. Erha is down to Soboro, immediately flashing over here. Get the CC on a Zika. Getting low. Zika going down. Alk on the back line. Alk going killer, bro, as he's taking down Rookie too close, but can't get away. Triple kill already coming through for the new ADC of Weibo. He's looking for a fourth. He does end up getting a little bit more damage on the way away. Tries to chase him down, but that'll be 4 kills to Alk, and welcome to Weibo, the standout star.
Alk has had so many fights that have gone just barely the way of his opponents in multiple series now that we've seen early on for this Weibo team. But finally, he gets one where he can really show off how powerful he is. A 3-item Kaisa, and he got a lot more kills in that fight. So guess what? He might even be closer to a 4th one than we're expecting here. Weibo able to turn it around with their superstar AD carry.
10-0-2, a redemption game for Alk from that game number 1. Even throwing up his little Poro emote he used to use with On all the time. You'll love to see it. He's feeling himself, and he knows these team fights are all about him.
Get back into this replay. This was very dangerous. I mean, Erha tries to go in with the grand entrance. It gives the plasma procs so that Alk can fly right into the backline. And then Zika. This right here is the game-winning play for me in this moment. It was the Baron, but all of them getting aced. You wasted all of this gold and local experience, and now there's no threat. Triple kill going over to this Kaisa.
You see the rest of this fight. I mean, he does end up picking up a 4th. Wei does try to chase down as much as he can. He is just a Mundo. And Alk picking up a ton of gold there. You see that damage, 7,000 damage done.
Soboro, I remember at the beginning of that fight, we're like, oh, Soboro goes in, he like tries to flash forward, he hits nobody. That's when you know the fight is over at that point. Turret does go over. Erha and the rest of Weibo are going to look to slow chase Jwei on the bottom side of the map.
Oh, no. And Realm Warp came out from Mookie to just get him to safety, and that will unfortunately be it for Jwei. Had a couple overextensions this time around, and not as proficient with those aggressive engages, and that is some of the kind of double-edged sword of Jwei in the story he's written last year.
Derek sad. IG minus 725 gold for the Baron. All right. It's a good Baron power play coming in from them. Weibo back, by the way, and got Alk a 4th item. That's exactly what we want to see. IG, we need to refocus. We need to think about what our team composition is doing. We are playing around the beefier players on our team. Let's play around our Mundo, play around our Renekton, and we need to figure out ways of killing this Kaisa, because she is the big damage dealer and the biggest threat to our composition just from draft alone.
I just think it's so tough. I mean, we talked about their scaling and some of the options coming up for them, and they are 3 items there for Photic as well, but when Alk has this much say in who dies when they get the CC chaining, when they have that kind of point-and-click damage coming through that Weibo drafted for, it's just so difficult to be able to navigate these, because at any moment you could be the one that gets singled out.
He has a 5,000 gold difference between him and Photic. I mean,
Insane.
Photic will scale, but you need to actually reach this point of the game to be relevant. So, Weibo now, full court press. Let's go into mid lane. Let's try to push our top lane as well. Rookie is on the opposite side of the map. This turret is completely gone.
It will be gone. And they're actually going to find an engage on the back end, too. Jiejie goes into, look at the CC chaining. I told you, it was disgusting. And they show it off right then and there. That was a lot of tools down. They're going to look for a re-engage. Erha could not find the grand entrance. Will end up backing off with the rest of the team. IG going to hold around their tier 2 while Rookie takes his own tier 2.
All in all, though, I will say, we talk about the push and pull of minion waves, the fact that there are more turrets now on the bottom side that are taken. IG at least able to trade on the other side of the map. Soboro dying, not great, but all in all, I don't think all that much was lost. And for Photic, it's all about can he get to 100 stacks. They're already at 90, and he has the Infinity Edge here. So with Flash up and available, a GA finished for Alk. This is almost near impossible status for IG. How do they problem solve themselves from this situation with Soul? It's going to be Chemtech Soul as well.
And he can afford another. He can get another item.
Yeah.
because you know, ADCs. He does. He finally has a shutdown, by the way, and it's a big one. But there is something else that's big that's coming up, and it's got wings, and it screams a lot. It's a dragon. Would be Soul for Weibo on a Chemtech Soul. You know, IG aren't going to want to give that one over.
IG are first to the side. So yeah, Xiaohu is kind of skulking in the bottom side near that dot brush on bot lane.
Oh, way.
Exhaust.
I mean, he's going to get so much thrown his way, and Alk is just shredding him. You cannot be that overextended against a Kai'Sa like that, and now TP's coming in way too late, and Soboro and a slice and dice is way. Alk goes straight into him. Alk says, I'm the absolute killer of this croc, and he's going to chase him down with the help of Erha. Now they are losing bodies left and right. The saving grace could be a Realm Warp out, but Photic did not take it. Photic will die to the boomerang of Zika, and Zika coming to clean up house, but it's truly the Alk show this time around. He finds another kill, and Weibo looking to even up this series.
Can they end from this position? I mean, 35-second death timers. They're just going to take their dragon and call it a day at this point. A free win coming off the back of Alk. 15-0-2. I think he's getting pretty close to the kill record here at LPL.
Yeah, it's getting close. And the thing is they get, like, the Kai'Sa was open. I don't know. Is it a new year, so we need to hammer in the lessons of not giving certain players Kai'Sa, and does it need to be reiterated that Alk probably doesn't
we can't give
it?
an entire league this champion, guys. Like, this is not that's not reasonable or feasible.
It's disgusting because every time we see it come through, it feels like every time we see it completely destroy the other side. And it's just the decision-making power that this champion has when you are ahead. You've seen him delete people left and right that maybe didn't think they could be deleted, and that's just the power that Alk brings. This is the power that this ADC for BLG for so many years that brought that organization its first championships is now bringing to Weibo.
Oh boy. See what else we can get from them, because this is a very straightforward composition to play from here on out. I mean, Alk is so far ahead at this point, he can make a few mistakes and it will not matter here. Soboro waiting for a flank. Maybe they find Xiaohu.
They do find Xiaohu. Is this the saving grace? They do take him down. Congratulations. They get one. It's going to be immediately traded back, and IG need to commit. They need to do something here, but they've lost their front line. They're losing people again, and it's just not looking like a pretty show for IG. Now they're just going to take turns running down the remaining members' way. Should get hopped on. Is going to dodge out of the grand entrance with that flash, so he should be fine. Does have the ultimate cooking, so he will be healing up a decent amount, but that is just two. And that is all that's left to defend for IG.
Well, if it's any saving grace, thankfully IG have pushed out all the waves, so the game doesn't immediately end, but it is functionally over. 7,000 gold lead, and you're going to have access to a 7th item here as Alk. Baron's going to be on the cards here. Just IG know what was in range there. Alk can actually just straight up go up on this guy and kill Photic if he really wanted to, but I mean, Weibo just get a freebie to end this one out.
Does Jwei try to steal this one away from Jiejie. He's had the better smites on him in the 50-50s so far. Gotta be careful not to get caught out here, though, because, again, Alk will just absolutely melt you. They're just going to go straight onto him. All those plasma stacks starting to stack up, and he has no healing, no ultimate to try to get the healing back. The Baron goes over, and now he has just baited his entire team into Alk's mouth, as that'll be a couple kills going back over to Weibo again. 16-0, and Xiaohu will end up getting the kill after missing the flash scout of the week, but it doesn't matter. It's all for show. As 32 minutes in, Weibo are now pouncing towards the nexus of IG.
I like the idea that Xiaohu is showing Jwei who just really earned himself. Right, you know, making sure he's putting him in his place after a very disappointing game number 1. But this game was not about Xiaohu. This game was not about Zika, Jiejie, or Erha. It was about Alk. Alk and Erha together. They won the 2v2 very early on, and then they just completely ran over this game.
They did indeed, and that game is slowly going to be over. And that means our first series of the LPL 2026 is going to be a full 3 games, as we have been promised, as needed to be delivered. And Weibo show that they just needed a little bit of time to wake up from that game number 1. The Elk Kaisa comes to fruition, and Weibo even us up 1-1 after making sure to take down Jwei one more time.
I don't
19.
think 19 is close.
19.
I'm pretty sure the highest is still Knight. He had a Lucian game, I think, a couple years ago.
Was it 22 or something like that?
I think, but it was a Lucian game where I feel like it was a little sooner than 2022. We'll get back to this
No,
during the
22 kills. Sorry.
Oh, yes, maybe that is the case.
But crazy stuff nonetheless. And night and day performance from Weibo across game 1 and game 2. If that's not the most Weibo way to go, I don't know what is.
Like this is just reminding me of their series in Demacia Cup where they have just these dismally looking games where they can't set up around objectives properly. They don't look like they can team fight. And then we go into a game 2 or like a game 3, and suddenly this Weibo team wakes up and they have a single game that looks really good. It's all about the flash in the pan. Can we get that consistently, though, is the problem.
That is always the question with Weibo, isn't it? Even with this new iteration, even with this new roster, still able to find the win here. And the Malphite, it worked. It worked out. It didn't look that bad. But now
didn't look that great.
Didn't look great, but didn't look that bad. And now I'm really curious what this game 3 is going to have to offer us, because we've kind of still haven't seen Xiaohu necessarily step up to the plate and knock out a home run, but it really was the team surrounding him, and that bot lane, like you were saying, got the better of him. But it's also something to think about where Jwei did not, he looked more like his 2025 self in a lot of ways, where you have some games that aggressive style is so potent, so strong, and other games where it just leads you to shooting yourself in the foot.
I feel like that's basically the Jwei way every time. Jwei is going to find and engage, and whether you're going to follow up or I'm going to die. That's just how it goes. I did take a quick look. It was 21 kills. It was 24 Summer. BLG, it was Knight versus Care. We won't be seeing Care for a little bit of time here on the LPL.
Wow.
But yeah, 21 kills. Still, 19 is pretty good.
Not too bad. Very close. Yeah. And that just puts another feather into the Elk Kaisa cap. I don't know how many more times this guy is going to be able to get. Next, you're going to tell me that Gala in the next series is going to get Kaisa.
Maybe.
If it happens, then maybe it takes a refreshing memory every year. Just get smacked on the head by a giant Kaisa-shaped stick and see what happens. But it's nice to see a third game. I think I really want to see the breadth that these teams bring to the table, and the fact that they both on paper have very similar styles of kind of roaming mids, playing those side lanes and trying to capitalize on that. We did see Weibo kind of center around a team aspect, right? Like just roaming around as a death squad, and you see that represented with 62,000 damage for Elk.
That's what you got to do. You're playing Malphite, you're playing Kaisa, you're playing Rakan, snap their heads off and just take them anywhere you can. If you can find a fight, that's what we're looking for. This IG team, I feel like this composition, if they would have won this game, it would have been a low and slow down to the ground. Like, hey, we're going to just like slow roll you over on this top side. We made a few too many aggressive plays that ended up kind of costing us the game. But I think in theory, you had a really strong 2v2. You don't mess up the early game. We saw that still Xiaohu was not all that great in lane. I feel like this still could have been a really convincing IG win, but they ended up stumbling over themselves in a lot of instances.
41% of teams damage done. That's a lot, even in the new age of ADC. And we're going to take a look back at some of these plays. And again, it didn't feel like IG were necessarily out of the fights until it seemed dire. And we still really loved some of the functioning around their top trio. But this play from Zika setting up Elk really was a bit of the nail in the coffin, because it just started getting worse and worse from here.
I just want to see Elk right-click as a Mundo. There's nothing more fun.
You asked who kills the Mundo. Well, Elk answered.
Yeah, Kaisa. Turns out Kaisa does. I should have known that, but I was also really banking on the fact that the rest of this team would have got it together. I also wasn't expecting my Rel to die level 1. So
yeah, that was tough.
That's my fault. I should have known. I should have just known we were going to mess up the 2v2.
This is the word. Don't let any ADC naysayers see this clip here. ADC still sucks. Please buff it, Riot.
Please don't buff this role. We don't need buffs. We don't need buffs.
Yes, we do.
There's more gold in the game. We get more items. Look, ADC maybe in the past, sure. The past couple years, sure. Not this season. We can't get away with this. I won't allow for this propaganda.
Now, I'm really starting to wonder here, who could possibly get the MVP for this game? I'm really struggling.
I think we should give it to Xiaohu. I think we should give Xiaohu an MVP.
For being an unk.
He
showed up to the shindig.
He plucked Elk away from BLG. He said, "Come here. You're gonna come to my team. We're gonna win the league.
Come to the Tiger's Den. Come.
And I'm gonna prove to you that I've always been better than Knight.
Ooh.
I've won more MSIs than Knight.
Oh, really?
Has.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Look.
Who broke the record for domestic titles?
It took Knight a year early. It took Knight one more year to reach a World Finals.
Oh my God.
Than he did for Xiaohu.
How dare he?
That's all I'm saying.
Ripping
guys.
off your shirt won't do anything now, Wei. Unfortunately, I still go down as Mundo. I do expect this MVP to go to Alk, just for the sheer numbers that were able to be put up. The only other iteration I would say Erha I think deserves, or Zika for some of those big Meganar plays, but those would be like the only potential other options.
There is no other option. There's no other
option. Can we get those Riftbound packs though? Like, can we just?
I mean, they just got rid of reflexive triggers, so maybe the game's a little bit easier to play. There we go. There he is.
There he is. 19-0, 90% KP, 41% damage done. Elk on a new team for the first time in years, and didn't show up in game number 1. Showed up big time in game number 2. You know, if he's got comfort, he can lead the way.
That's going to be a big kind of trend for this team, is not just for Elk but entirely for Weibo, is can we have multiple big games in a row, and can we recapture some former glory? A lot of these guys might be chasing some shadows behind them in terms of their careers. So all in all, kind of hoping for some stronger performances. And look, game 1, game 2, we're here to game 3 in our first series of the season.
I love to see it. It's the only LPL way, and I couldn't be more excited to get a game 3 for the first series. That is it for our second game, though. It is tied up 1-1. We'll see who ends up taking the side selection and the first pick selection after this for game number 3.